we're very concerned that the bombing on Libya is going to turn into a ground war. David Cameron has been talking about this, and so have the EU. So what has already been a disastrous bombing intervention may now turn into a much more prolonged, full-scale war. And since the bombing itself hasn't solved the problems it was supposed to solve, hasn't resolved the situation in Libya, has actually lengthened the conflict, we are protesting about the further plans to have an even greater engagement, a greater military deployment in this already failed war.
And we are today here protesting in front of the 10 Downing Street to send a message to David Cameron. We say to him, stop killing people, stop wasting money, wasting time. Libya, we want to free Libya, and we want Iraq again. Libya for Libyan people, and Libya for peaceful protester, peaceful revolution. And Gaddafi must go, but without killing any people.
I think we are far too ready in Britain to take up arms whenever there's a problem, rather than looking at discussion, debate, using the UN not to pass motions to allow us to bomb, but to use the UN's peacekeeping facilities rather than its war-making ones. And I don't think NATO has any part in this. I think it's a UN issue.
Well, I'm here to protest because I don't think that Britain has any right to intervene in any other country in the affairs of what literally is a civil war. If you look at the role that Britain has played in military intervention in Iraq and Afghanistan, you can see the terrible slaughter and carnage that has been caused as a result of those assaults. I think what's happening in Libya, you can see that the military intervention is escalating the violence in that country and actually scuppering any chance of any kind of peaceful resolution.
War on Want opposes British intervention in another war in the Middle East. We've seen war after war where Britain has gone in not for humanitarian reasons, but as an imperialist power after its own interests, whether it's Afghanistan or Iraq or now Libya. And we found out just today the absolute confirmation in Foreign Office documents that Britain went into Iraq for oil. It was not for any other purposes, but it was for oil that they went in and to satisfy the greed of BP and Shell. That is why Britain goes to war in the Middle East, for that and for strategic reasons, not out of some newfound desire to help the people of Libya. So that's why we're very concerned from War on Want that already this war has escalated way beyond the original mandate, and that there are all sorts of prospects that it will escalate even further. So we consider it to be wrong for Britain to be there. We would like to see an end to the fighting, but not through an escalation of violence, and certainly not through British, French or US intervention.
I think if you look at the opinion polls, there's already a majority of people who are opposed to this intervention, and that's quite remarkable. There actually were a majority in the opinion polls right from the first day of the bombing, and it's usually the case that the first flush of military action produces a favourable result for the government, and it's only later when people see the full effects of military engagement that opinion turns against the war. But in this case, it's been against the war from the very beginning.
Intervention, no way!